Wagwan people, what you saying? It is I, Diligent Fingers, and welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. Now, firstly, I just want to address the elephant in the room straight away. The fact that I've not put up anything for what seems like a while now, really. But it's probably only been like maybe a week to 2 weeks, but because it's only been like streams and stuff, like I was trying to get everything set up for Destiny 2 when that launched so I could stream and make quite a bit of content on that. I wasn't able to because my iMac is still having mad issues. I can't even make music or record any sort of vocals or anything like that because the fan in there is constantly on full speed, basically. And even when I was streaming, there'd be a high pitched noise coming through on the actual stream, which I just couldn't get rid of and stuff. So that's gone off for repair again. Basically, I'm just waiting for that to come back. So it's just going to be stuff like this, back on the phone once again, and that. And I've kind of missed sort of talking to you guys, really, and just sort of keeping you up in the know of what's going on. There has been other stuff going on as well, but I will address that in a later video in terms of being part of my mental health diary, which I'm kind of kicking myself for not keeping up with, but a lot of stuff has been going on. But unless you've been living under a rock, do you know what I mean? Like, obviously everyone's been talking about Pewdiepie saying the N-word during a stream, and the sort of polarizing outrage that has come out as a result of that, really. I just wanted to give my 2 cents on it, and I feel like in situations like this, it depends on where you stand with word as a whole, really. Me being a black man and that, I've had a really bad history with that word, as well as black people having a really horrible black history with that word. That's a given. That goes without saying, more or less. But in terms of where I stand on the word, you'll never hear it come out of my mouth. You'll never hear me address a fellow black man in that way, shape or form. The only time you'll ever hear me mention it in my music is to make a point about that, in terms of how far we've come, what's going on in society surrounding that word, and how it's used and stuff. I don't agree that it's taking any kind of power back in terms of black people using it as a term of endearment. I feel like that's an American thing, and I can't really speak for what goes on in America in terms of African Americans, or black people living in America. But me being from the UK, it's only ever been a recent thing where black people from the UK have started calling each other that. It's only been a recent thing in terms of hearing it in British hip hop music, and stuff. So I feel like it's a trend that has come over from America over to here, in terms of how it's used amongst black people, and stuff. I may be wrong, if you can point out an old school black man that has been saying the N-word throughout all of his music, please point me in that direction and I will most certainly stand corrected. But in terms of where I am with it, I don't believe that it's taken the power back, and simply because of situations like this. If there was any power to take back from that, then it wouldn't be so polarizing when a white person says it. There wouldn't be such a wide spectrum of people and how they feel the word should be used and shouldn't be used, the rules, as it were, the passes, as it were, that can be given out. Do you know what I mean? And stuff like that. I don't agree with any of that, really and truly. And my basis on that is, let my grandma hear that word and see how upset that she gets with it. Do you know what I mean? Let my mum hear that word being said to her and see how upset she gets with it. That word is still very, very painful for a lot of people. And I don't think any sort of ground has been gained in terms of, taking any kind of power back. I feel like it's been trivialized. It's been very much trivialized. And is almost at the point of everyone being desensitized to that word. Now, I'm not saying that you should be held back by words in any way, shape, or form. Again, it is what words mean to you and how you approach them, how you take them and stuff. If I'm called an N word in the middle of the street by somebody, I'm not responding to it. I'm carrying on with my business. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm not the type of person that does let words actually get to me. But in terms of what I feel, in terms of having respect for my fellow black man or woman, I would never use that word in any kind of context. Sure, I'll sing along to a song that may have that word in it. I think that's the unfortunate side of the situation as well. There's many instances where that word has been used in songs, and people, like, I remember stories from back in the day where people would be listening to American hip hop, in a club. Do you know what I mean? Song will come on, certain words, do you know what I mean, come up in that song, and everybody in the club, do you know what I mean, is singing along to it. But the wrong black person to see the wrong white person saying that word could end up in someone getting hurt. Do you know what I mean? Like that can happen. It's not a case of, all of us are on the same side when it comes to this word. There's many different parts of the spectrum of how people do take this word within the black community. So, as a result of Felix saying this on stream, do you know what I mean, as an insult to somebody that he can't see, probably wasn't even speaking to, do you know what I mean, or was not speaking to at all. It was just another player playing the same game as him, like, there doesn't seem to be any context behind it in terms of, he was doing this to make a joke or anything like that, which has normally been his defense in terms of, coming out with words like that, or Nazi jokes and stuff like that. Like, that has been his defense, that it's been a joke. And if you watch his content and you watch his content all the way through, the context is there for the joke. Whether you find the joke funny or not, that's on the person hearing the joke. Do you know what I mean? And, whether they want to take it as a joke or not, it's entirely on them. At the same time, I'm not the type of person to say you can't get offended at what you're offended at. At the end of the day, it's up to you what you get offended by. And the easiest way to actually deal with situations like that, when it comes to somewhat celebrities or people that have massive followings on a massive public forum, public platforms and stuff, there is most definitely a responsibility there when it comes to these types of things, racial slurs and stuff like that. So in terms of Felix, my thoughts on it is he's wrong. He's wrong for saying it. Whether or not he says this thing daily for it to slip, for it to come out accidentally, do you know what I mean? As in, he's comfortable saying this word regularly and stuff. That remains to be seen. Like, it seems like that's the case, but again, I don't chill out with the guy. I don't know the guy personally, so I don't know what goes on behind the cameras when the cameras aren't on. Do you know what I mean? But no, I think he's an idiot. He's an idiot for letting that happen. He's an idiot for even trying to justify any kind of reasonings for saying that. Or he should apologize, because there was nothing behind that. Do you know what I mean? And of course, there's people that are like, "Oh, leave him alone." Like just because he said the word doesn't mean that he's a racist and this, that, and the other. I don't think it's a case of it being about whether he himself is racist or not. Like, I don't think it's a case of that. It's a case of I think it's a case of public responsibility. The fact that you're in the public eye, and because of the amount of subscribers Felix has got, PewDiePie has got, there is a certain responsibility that comes with that. Whether he likes it or not, he is the face of a platform. He is the face of a lot of things in terms of the world that he's in, being a YouTuber. He's the first person that a lot of people have seen play certain games. He's the first person that a lot of people have seen have media go against him. He's the first person to ever have amassed that amount of subscribers. I think he's at 57 million subscribers now and counting. So whether you like it or not, when you're in that public eye, there is a responsibility there, you know. Yes, this could go exactly the same way for, you know, people in the music business, hip hop artists. There is a responsibility there that you know that you do have to pay attention to. You know, in terms of myself, the only time you're going to hear me say that word is if I'm making a point about that word, about how that word is being used. And the only time that that's ever going to come up is going to be within my music. That's it. You'll never hear me say that word. Do you know what I mean? Outside of those situations. There's only ever been 2 times or 2 or 3 times where I've said that word in a song to raise a point, you know, about a point in time when I was growing up and a situation happened to me, or just over time my experience during life with this word and how it's affected me and stuff like that. I do think Felix should apologise. I do think PewDiePie should apologise for that mess up. I think if he was to do that, everything would just go away. You know, I know that there's people, the developers of Firewatch, they're looking to file false DMCA claims, you know, in regards to him playing their games and stuff, and like the politics behind it all. Again, it's down to the individual. If he wants to do that and, you know, risk shutting down somebody's livelihood, you know, at the hands of a mistake he made, a very, very stupid mistake that he made, they're the consequences. Like, I'm not going to say whether it's right or wrong, because in terms of gaming fair use on YouTube, that's a massive grey hair area. Technically, they are able to do that. They are allowed to do that because it is their copyrighted material. I think the only thing that's holding them back is the fact that they have stated wholeheartedly on their website that anybody can stream their game and make money off, you know, their game on YouTube, Twitch, VidMe, all that kind of stuff. So there's legal issues that are now involved in this case surrounding PewDiePie, and I think that's just what happens. I think in these types of situations, they're the consequences, because again, at the end of the day, you say that to the wrong person at the wrong time in the wrong situation. Do you know what I mean? I can give him a pass if you know it's part. Well, not even that. I can't really give him a pass at all. I was going to say in terms of joke, but I was thinking about comedians that I watch that use that word, and none of them are white. So just a little lapse, do you know what I mean, of concentration there. But nah, I can't give him a pass. I can't give any white person a pass for using that word. Do you know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. If you know the history behind the word, and if you know a large portion of the black community are going to be offended at hearing a white person say that word. Look at who is it? Bill Maher. You know, he tried to make a joke and say that he was a house N-word. He wasn't in the field. He's in the house N-word. Do you know what I mean? Trying to make a joke on live television. Again, I feel like it's got to a point where the word has been trivialized, but there's still a massive amount of black people, whether it's from the UK, America, South Africa, wherever they are, there is still a large proportion of the black community that find that word offensive, regardless of context, regardless of, you know, how it was used, where it was used. Just the fact of hearing that word from a white person, it's offensive. Do you know what I mean? Again, I'm not going to respond to every white person that says it. Do you know what I mean? But I feel like in terms of this case, and me being a YouTuber myself, and I felt as if I needed to give my thoughts on it. PewDiePie has never been a massive thing in terms of a massive thing in my life in terms of watching him regularly. I'd say I watch him more nowadays than I do when he was doing the whole gaming thing and just screaming at the top of his lungs and stuff. First couple of videos were funny. After a while, it was just like, you can't be that scared of everything. Do you know what I mean? You can't be that jumpy when you play these types of games all the time. Do you know what I mean? You are going to get used to certain things, jump scares and stuff like that. So he's not someone that's on my radar in a big way. He's not someone that I'm subscribed to and I watch on a regular basis. But because of the fact of who he is, how big he is on this platform, how widespread he is, with having 57 million subscribers on YouTube, being the biggest YouTube personality in the world, you know, when things like this happen, you've got to know it's going to be a big thing. You have to know that it's going to be a big thing. You have to know that you are going to get scrutinized. Why are you saying this word? How can you say this word so casually as you did in your live stream? You know, like, of course people are going to pick you apart. He's going to have to deal with these consequences. The sooner he apologizes, is probably going to be the better. Just hold your hands up. I messed up. Do you know what I mean? I know I should not have said the word at all. Doesn't matter whether it's just somebody, do you know what I mean, playing against you in a game and shit. You know? And now and because of how I take the word as it still being a very hurtful word, especially when it comes to certain members of my family that I hold in high regard, you know, that's why you're never going to hear me say that word. You're never going to hear me address a fellow black person in that way at all, really and truly, you know. But I feel like there isn't much more that can be said about it, really. It's just a very, very stupid and irresponsible thing that has happened, that PewDiePie has done. And like I said, the sooner he apologises about it and moves on, the better. Do you know what I mean? And that, how he apologised, whether people are going to take it as being sincere or not, I don't really care. Do you know what I mean? I don't necessarily really care that much about this, but because I'm a YouTuber as well, and things like this are going to end up tarring all YouTubers with the same brush. It always happens. It always happens. Someone does something completely stupid, do you know what I mean? Then, you know, people just assume that all YouTubers are like that, really and truly. So, with that, I'm going to finish it there. Thank you very much for watching and listening if you have made it this far. This was just a pure stream of consciousness after seeing a few videos about the subject and stuff. I thought I'd just give my 2 pence, really. It's about understanding and respect at the end of the day. Understanding how much weight that word uses and respecting that fact, really and truly. And if you don't respect that fact, do you know what I mean? Not to say automatically, yeah, you are a racist, but you can't be surprised if people pick you apart if it seems like you're not respecting and understanding the nature and the weight of that word, really and truly. In terms of music, that's a completely different story. I feel like, again, that comes from the American side of things. Like, I'm not from America, do you know what I mean? So I can't speak on that side. I feel like that's a very fickle and hazy situation within itself, you know. Do you know what I mean? Like, but yeah, man. Thank you very much for watching and listening. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Take it easy. And as always, blessings to you all.